Hello and welcome to a very special video. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I am the authority on any of this or much of anything besides that, but I'm going to say I've had a number of concerns for a while, and over the last year I've tried to express them as best I could over the direction of the Horus Heresy, be it the rules, the models, the releases, and the quality of the releases, the communication of Games Workshop, or even the fact I was concerned over edition churn. And now that we, for the most part, know there's going to be a new edition, and we have very little in the way of communication, I thought it would be a good idea to at least talk about some of my own private concerns over, getting a new edition. So, I had a number of problems with the newer edition, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but to hit on a couple of them. I never liked reactions. I know a lot of people like it because they felt like it made the game more interactive, but I hated it because it gave me this very strong, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! You just activated my trap card feel. And I thought, they either need to tone them back down, restrict them more, or they need to completely rework them. And as time's gone on, I kind of wish they would simply have removed it and potentially replaced it with something like tactical orders that you would pick at the beginning of your turn, and you would be able to use like one or two of them on your opponent's turn. Not quite the same, but I don't know. I just think that the reactions were one of those things that just kind of irritated me, and I would like to see it either refined into something more useful or at least just gotten rid of at this point. I would like to have seen a little bit more done with the, let's just pull the Contemptor Dreadnought out of the hat and say, I don't think anyone, even people who are fielding lists of them, can say that they are not overtuned like crazy and need to be brought down. I don't think they need to be like beaten into oblivion, but they need to be toned down a little bit and made into a little bit more of a reasonable. Now, if that is bringing their brutal rating down or whatnot, I'm not gonna say, because one, I'm not a designer, but I do think that they need to be brought down a little bit, and just to make them a little bit more reasonable and not feel so overwhelmingly powerful and capable. That's not to say that they shouldn't be useful. Again, a minor correction over nerfs are always something I think that need to be done. A number of rules corrections, just in general, a cleaning up the rules and a consistency that people will be able to have the same set of rules in front of them no matter where they live or when they bought the damn thing. And I think that as much as I hate the idea of another edition being slammed across our head, especially when there's some people who haven't even really played much in the way of Heresy, it just doesn't feel like it's an overwhelming need. Next, I think we really need a better communications. I get the Games Workshop goes off this, we're gonna say nothing and then play this stupid hype game where it's like, haha, we're being clever. But a lot of people are over that shit, and it's a product that's very expensive, and it's time for them to stop acting like they just get to keep it all quiet and never talk about anything. Most companies want to tell you about their product so that it stays in mind, not throw it out there and FOMO it at you. There are companies that do that, but a lot of them run into a problem of burnout with people, and I think that is increasingly a problem, and it needs to be tackled. But I don't have faith in Games Workshop fixing that. But my number one concern really comes down to this. Is the edition something needed? Yeah, and you could say, well, there are a number of things you just listed without even going into detail that are obvious things that need to be corrected. Could we have just used a revised edition of this that just comes out and it's like, hey guys, here's all of the corrections in the book, please buy it if you want that? Yeah, that would have been a better option. But really, these editions are coming out, they're coming out broken, they're coming out incomplete, they're coming out in a way where there's always gaps and not any level of real consistency and all this trouble. And it's really because they want it to be as imperfect as possible so that they can sell you in the next edition, so that all of those things just grind at you, and so that you're more accepting of a newer edition, as opposed to having to actually do real work and convince you that something's worth buying, or hell, having an edition that lasts a decent amount of time. The 3-year churn is absolutely ridiculous, and it's really more of a money grab, and I think that becomes more and more obvious to people as time goes on. Honestly, I'm going to not make this just a completely negative thing. I'm going to list some things that I would like to see done with the next edition. I would like to see modes put in that are Great Crusade, Horus Heresy, and Scouring, and them to be a little bit tailored to playing different levels of the game. Horus Heresy for grand battles, the Great Crusade for large battles, but also Xenos, and the Scouring to be the kind of more old school 3rd edition style rules set with Xenos, Chaos, and all of that fun stuff. Effectively, I'd like to see one consistent rule system with alterations done to it for those 3 different periods, or let's say phases of the game, so that people who want to play old school 40k, things like the Badab War, the Scouring, on and on and on, they go and they play the Scouring mode. People who want to play the Great Crusade and they want to fight, because this would also be allow them to bring out new ranges of Xenos and have a bunch of different ones that can be played with Horus Heresy. That'd be the Great Crusade. And then you have the Horus Heresy for fighting Legion on Legion and all that fun stuff. And I want to make sure that the customizability remains. Now, what I would like to see as well is I would like to see a Praetor model that comes out as a multi-part kit like the old 40k Captain kit. Multiple different chest pieces, multiple power packs, a ton of different weapons and heads and marks of armor, a few different marks of armor legs, because I want the torso and the legs to be separate like the old school, and just the ability for people to get one of those and be able to make Praetors, Centurions, on and on and on, and be able to just do it with that box. That way we don't have to have all of these separate little things for all of these different types of Praetors. It just make it one and done. People would buy a ton of them. And on top of that, I would like to see a more consistent amount of communication, an actual roadmap that says, hey guys, we're going to be bringing these items out this year, and while between each release we're going to be talking about what we're doing with that kit, what our goals are with that kit, what you can expect to see from that kit. I would like to see those. Are those all things that basically are fantasies and not going to happen? They're not going to happen, but they're things I would like to see. Overall, I just want to see an edition that keeps Horus Heresy, doesn't turn it into a 40k knockoff, and, well, in general, that people can enjoy. And that's honestly what I prefer. As much as I am critical on the product, I really do want people to have good experiences, get good value, and in general, have good times with their buddies. And that's something I truly miss about my time with the hobby. I miss being able to sit around with some people that I've known for years, have a few drinks, joke around about how the week was, and just play a game that is our narrative and not a pre-listed, predisposed. You're playing Goleman and his whole Goleman squad's there, But that's me. Tell me, what do you guys want to see? Is there anything that you think I left out? Because I would have said Breachers, but come on. At this point, they're purposely not giving us anything like Breachers. So, have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.